Hello and welcome. Today I wanted to do a little bit of a get ready with me featuring Victoria Beckham. I wanted to create a holiday look using some Victoria Beckham products, including the brand new Lid Lustre in Emerald, which if you're looking for a holiday green, this is it. So let's go ahead and let's get started. All right, so we're gonna start off with the blush, and on my face right now I have on the Prada primer. And then I have the Valentino Concealer in LIG R2 under my eyes, topped with the Chanel Ultra Le Temps Velvet in BR12. So that's what I have on currently, and we're gonna go in with one of the cream blushes. This is the Cheeky Posh in Fame, which is a really pretty berry shade. So I find that when I put something like this directly on my cheek and blend it out, it never looks quite right. So I prefer to put some on the back of my hand first. And I'm going to take this brush, which you can see it's not super dense. We've got still quite a bit of movement and so forth. It's undyed Go Hair. This is a SUQQU T3. So this will be soft, yet still dense enough to kind of be able to pounce on. And I think it just looks a lot more natural going in this way. So I love this shade. I have 4 of her blush sticks, but this is the one that I use the most. It's Fame. And it's just a really pretty soft berry. So while we're looking at the blush, I think sometimes the close-up swatches help the most. So this one here is Fame again. And then I'm going to swatch the other 3 that I have just so you can see what they look like. We have Fever, which is a really nice vibrant orange for summer. I really like this one in the summer. With my coloring, it's not perfect with every look, but with some people, it's stunning. And then we have Major. This is probably my second most used. You can see this is going to be a soft pink, and it's going to be a warmer tone pink. So it's more of a warm bubble gum. And then we have Knickers, which is going to be a soft peachy shade here. So these are the 4 cheek sticks that I have. I hope that's helpful. Let's go ahead and move on to the eyes. So I bought the new Lid Lustre in Emerald. If you're not familiar with the Lid Lustres, they do come with a twist off cap. This is a heavy glass container, and you have this little lid to help keep it fresh. I keep these, and honestly, I don't have any that have dried up, and I've had some for years. So this is the newer Emerald shade. You can see I do have a crack in mine, but that's not going to affect the formula at all. Look at this shade. I mean, how stunning is that? I would love to see some eyeshadow. Some nail polish like that as well. So let's just do another swatch of that so you can see that even more closely. We'll blend this one out a bit. And a lot of times when we see these bright emerald greens for eyeshadows, we see a dark black base. And when you blend it out, it turns either this gray, like charcoal gray, or black shade. And you can see here that this one still stays green. We have a tiny bit of gray in there when it's blended out, but the overall color is still an emerald green, which tells us that our base is going to be more translucent. So I'm hoping you can see the shimmer in here. We have multicolored shimmer. There's green, there's gold, there's silver. It looks kind of like an opalescent white in there as well. So I think that makes it really special. Let's go ahead and try this on. By the way, my nails are incredibly messy right now, but they do sort of match this color a little bit. I'll have that in the description box, but it's one of the newer Mooncat shades. This is the Refer 02 brush that I'm going in with. So I like to go in, sometimes I use these straight up with my fingers, but with these deeper shades, I like to use a brush first, just so I don't make quite as much of a mess as I would otherwise. I'm kind of clumsy with fingertip applications. So just kind of softly blending that by the crease. And I think this is a shade that would work really nicely with more of a soft matte base for like a powder eyeshadow or something underneath as well. Just to kind of blend out and get something a little bit more dramatic. This is also a shade that'd be beautiful straight up as an eyeliner. with the Christmas season, I haven't had time to clean up. So I have a stack of makeup. All the Chanel stuff is just stacked up here. And of course, I just knock things over. Thankfully, nothing actually fell on the ground or anything like that, but I did kind of start toppling my pile. So here's the green. I just think this is a stunning shade. You can see how easily this goes on and smooths out. I love her lid lustres. I do think, you know, depending on the color, some of them are chunkier than others. This is one of the pretty smooth ones. And it just feels like a really nice, smooth cream shadow. And yet you have a ton of shine and vibrancy. So this would be what it looks like essentially with like just a little bit kind of buffed out. But you can definitely add more onto this and make it a bit more vibrant. So let's make this a little bit brighter here. Look at that. So pretty. I love this color. I'm just taking a clean brush. This is the What's Up Beauty R109, and I'm just going into the crease with this. Just softening this a little bit and making sure my edges aren't too messy. Then I'm going to take the same brush, this one that I just used in the crease, and this is the shade Blonde. Now, let me show you this. And this is a few years old. You can see how fresh they keep this. It looks white in the pot, but you can see it's white gold. I mean, it's like a true white gold. Really beautiful shade. So I'm going to use this for the inner corner. You can see when you layer it a little bit on top of the green, how much more vibrant the gold flecks in the shadow are. They really pop out with this blonde shade nearby. I mean, even when the ones that aren't touching. So I just think it's like, it's stunning. I love this color. So for eyeliner, I'm going to take the cinnamon shade, which I have not tried this before. Wow, this one was on tightly. So look at this shade. Let's see how this goes. We'll put this, ooh, it's a nice warm brown. And you can see there is a touch of gold in here. Very, very faint, but you can see a little bit of gold. I think this is a really pretty warm brown with a touch of red in it. All right, so I'm just gonna go ahead and put this right along the lash line. You could definitely do some tight lining or something, but I have super sensitive eyes, so I just go as close to the lash line as I can without actual, you know, going in between the lashes. So for me personally, I love the emerald green, but for some people, it might be a shade that's a little bit too cool or a little bit too much. And then pairing it with a warmer eyeliner right at the base can help kind of make that, it helps neutralize the tones a little bit more so it just doesn't look quite as intense. For the lower lash line, I'm just going to take a swatch of the green, kind of put it on my hand. I have the brush dipped in the white gold. I'm just going to get a little bit of both shades there and just very softly go in. And just to clean up any stray particles, I'm just taking the brush I used for my concealer today and just swiping underneath a little bit. For mascara, we're going to take the Vast Lash mascara. So this has a curved wand. This is my first time using this one. And let's see how it goes. So I'm going to use the curved side of this. So here it is with the curved side. Now on the other side, let's go in with the concave side. So you can see there is a little bit of a difference using the concave side. It does curl up a little bit more and it's a little bit more feathery, whereas we have more lengthening with the convex side. And personally, what I like to do typically with a curved brush is I'll go in with one side and then switch to the other. So I get kind of the best of both worlds. So this has actually already dried. So it's not, I'm going to have to go in with my lash comb here on this one. Made that one a little messy here. So I'm not going to put anything on the lower lashes. And this is just the Tweezerman eyelash comb. And I'm just kind of breaking up some of those clumps. Wow, this mascara really gives a lot of volume. I did not curl my lashes beforehand. You can see it definitely gives some lift. I'm pretty impressed with the amount of volume. For me, this would definitely be like a going out at night kind of mascara because it really, you know, it's pretty powerful. I like it. Let me show you from a distance. So this is everything from a distance, and take a look at the lashes. I mean, I don't wear false lashes, but this gives you so much volume that it's almost as though you did put in a few like individual lashes there. Pretty impressive. I have to say, I like it. The fact that it dried so quickly is pretty nice. So I'll have to use this for a while to, you know, see how the performance holds up over repeated use, you know, as in crumbling and things like that. But first impressions of this mascara are actually very good. All right, back to brows, and I love the Baby Blade. This is my #1 favorite brow product right now, and has been since it came out. So I absolutely love this. I use shade Taupe, and it's just so easy to use. And then, yeah, it's a go-to for me. So I usually use this or the Byredo Stick in Sand, which is their new version. Their old version I didn't like, but the new one from Byredo is also very nice. And these are my two go-to brow products. While we're going in, we might as well take the Feather Fix from Victoria Beckham, and this is in light brunette. Honestly, this is, you know, it's a decent brow gel, but I don't use it very much. I'll use it once in a while, more so if I am, you know, going out at night, because it is a little bit more product than I usually use on my brows. Not that it's too much product in general, but I typically don't use a pencil and a gel on my brows. So I usually use one or the other. So sometimes I will go in with the gel just as is during the day, but I don't feel like it's, I think the Baby Blade does a better job at filling things in. This is really more just a tint of what's already there. But let me go ahead and swatch these two so you can see how the colors compare. So this is the Baby Blade in Taupe. And you can see it's a nice soft brown and a little ashy. And then we have light brunette in the gel. And you can see that the bristles on here, it kind of looks like a little mini toothbrush, right? But these are going to be kind of like a stiffer vinyl texture. So you can see the light brunette actually pairs very nicely with the Taupe. It's actually a little bit cooler than the Taupe shade. It has a little bit more gray in it. I like the color. This is the final look from a distance, and I love the emerald green. I ended up pairing it with the Posh Balm and Cassis, and let's take a look at those for a second. I wanted to share a couple of the gift sets that Victoria Beckham has. And one is this hand cream set, which just makes a beautiful, beautiful gift. You have all 4 of her fragrances, and we have hand creams. These are going to be your metal tube packaging. So it does come with one of these. This is the little, I never know what they're called, the little doohickey that you put on the back of the tube. So if you are trying to squeeze every little bit out, you put the tube end through here and press it forward. So it does come with one of those. I think this is a really great gift set, either for yourself or somebody else. You know, it's a great way to try everything else out as well. And when they do have the 20% off or whatever percentage off on their website, I always think the best thing to do is look at whatever sets they have. So I wanted to share a couple of the holiday sets. And I do want to note that these holiday sets are gifted. And then there's also a set with all 3 of the Posh Balms. So I do already have those. So I wanted to show you what those look like swatched again so you can really see what they look like. But I do want to show how everything does come packaged because it is going to be a nice sturdy cardboard box, really easy to open. I think these are they just make nice gifts. So definitely something to look at, or if you are looking at purchasing the Posh Balms, buying a set is usually a good way to go, especially if you can get it on sale because there's already a discounted set price in general. So let's take a look at the balms. Now, my big pet peeve with the lip balms, I love the actual packaging. It's weighty, it's metal. We do have some plastic in here, but the outside here is going to be metal. My big pet peeve though is it's a click up style. So it does not return down. So that's my big pet peeve. We're going to put these, we'll put these right here because I do want to swatch the other shades of the lid lustres that I have. So this is the shade Fleur. So this is our light pink. You can see it's going to be a really light, soft pink. It does have some warmth to it, but it's a really nice, you know, barely there kind of pink shade. If you want something a little bit deeper, Colette, which is our red shade, actually looks more pink to me on the lips, just a little bit more of a brighter pink. So this is a soft red. I really love this shade. And it just has, it's a little bit more of that like reddish jelly kind of look to it. And then Cassis is the berry shade here. And this is the one I'm wearing right now. And you can see it could be a nice soft blackberry shade. So these are the 3 Posh Balms. Texturally, as we're looking at the lip swatches here, texturally, these are going to be a bit of a firmer product. They have a little bit more wax in it, but you can also feel something kind of akin to honey, you know, where you get a little bit of tackiness to it. It's kind of like a firmer product that once you get it on, it sort of melts into your lips a little bit and it kind of stays put. So a lot of times we see those lip balms that have a little bit more oil in them and they can slide around on the lips. These really don't, but you do need to go back and forth a few times on your lips to put the product there in the first place. I have to say, during the summer, I was not the biggest fan of the Posh Balms because, again, I like something that's a little bit softer, a little bit more emollient. But during the winter, I love the fact that it actually stays put on my lips pretty well. And if I put it on and I put on like a thicker layer, it really stays put well throughout the day. You know, I would say 4 hours or so. So you get a little bit more longevity when you put a thicker layer of these on, and the fact that they really kind of stay put, I think that's a plus there. So I have been enjoying these more now that we have colder weather than I did during the summertime when I was looking for something a little bit softer. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at our lid lustres. So here we have the emerald and here we have the blonde. Again, this is the cinnamon eye kajal. And I'm not going in any particular order here, but this one here is velvet. This is a really beautiful, kind of like this bronze with a bit of green in it. And I think this is another really beautiful holiday shade. It's not going to be your yellowish bronze. It's more of a greenish bronze. And I think it gives you more of that like antique gold kind of look, which can be very sophisticated. So I really like this one a lot. This one here is Mink, and this is probably one of my favorites. And I've actually used this one a ton, but because I keep this on here, it always kind of nicely presses it to, you know, looking pretty new. So what I love about this, you can see you build this up and it looks pretty cool, but if you brush this out, you get more of a warmer brown. And you can see when it is built up though, you have a little bit of silver shimmer in there. And it's just a really pretty shade here. So this one's Mink, and again, it's probably my #1 favorite shade from the Victoria Beckham lid lustres if I had to pick one. This one here is Honey, and this is going to be, you know, a kind of like a soft gold. It's a warmer gold. It's not super yellow gold. It's not as deep as an antique. It's more like a brushed gold. So if you look at brushed gold versus shiny gold, this is more like your brushed gold. But yeah, it has a little bit more of that antique vibe to it. than you might expect. Now, chiffon is this really beautiful, let's see here, I didn't get quite very much on there, a really beautiful, like more soft golden champagne shade there. You can see that it's more like a peachy gold champagne. And I think this is a really pretty shade. This is one that I like to mix with some of the other shades, like Tea Rose, which is this one here, which is going to be your soft rosy pink. But you can see it's going to be more of a dusty rose. So I like to pair that with chiffon. Personally, I think they go very nicely together. I can't remember, but those two might have launched together at the same time as well. And then the last one I have is called Mirror, which was another holiday shade one year. And this is a striking silver. I think it is stunning. I love this. It's going to be your cooler tone silver. And just like we know silvers and grays have hints of other colors, this one does have a little bit of blue in it. So it is going to be a cooler silver. And if you want to tone it down, pairing this one with Tea Rose is really beautiful as well, or with the chiffon. I actually really like to mix this with the chiffon or even the honey sometimes and just, you know, put one on each end of the eye and kind of blend them together in the middle. I think it's a really beautiful kind of silver and gold look for New Year's. Now, I did just want to do a couple of quick comparisons of some of the liners to see what cinnamon looks like with the others. So this one here is Cocoa. And let's go ahead, we'll put Cocoa right above. You can see how much cooler Cocoa is. It's going to be deeper, cooler, more like a rich dark chocolate. I also want to take a look at the Valentino brown. This is brown fondant, and I love the Valentino. I love the Valentino eyeliners personally. But you can see this is going to be cooler. We have a similar depth of color as we do with cinnamon, but is going to be a cooler, more gray version. And this one here is the YSL Lines Liberated, and this is number 2. So put this one right here, and you can see that this one here is the closest to cinnamon, but cinnamon is going to have a bit more, you can see they both have red in them, but the hue of red is different. So the YSL is going to be a little bit cooler, and the golden hue that we have kind of mixed into the cinnamon is going to help make it a little bit warmer. And when you put those right up next to each other, you can see cinnamon definitely has more of a metallic vibe in general. So I thought I'd pop back on, we'd do an 8-hour wear test. So this is how the eyeshadows performed. I'll zoom you in just a minute, but I have to say the lid lustres, I usually don't have this issue, but the green has kind of slid down the lid. So something to note, you can see the blush is still pretty evident, and you can even see a little bit of a stain left on my lips from the lip balm. I did not reapply it, but I also haven't really had very much to eat or drink either. So here are the eyes up close, and you can see that it has sort of, it's creased and drifted down a bit, which just, that's not something that usually happens to me with the lid lustres. You know, I didn't go in particularly heavily with this shade, and it's kind of performing as though that's what I did. So I feel like, I think to make this one work better, you really should use like a powder base underneath. And yeah, the mascara has held up well. No issues with flaking or anything. So let me know what you think. Overall, even though there is still creasing, I absolutely love the color, but I will be sure to put like a powder base and kind of buff that into like the socket and everything. And then probably just tap on the emerald green on top for color. So it's definitely something to note, but it's just such a beautiful color that I can't resist it anyway. So I hope that was helpful. Overall, if you are looking for a sparkly cream shadow, I definitely recommend the Victoria Beckham lid lustres. I do really like them. You can get some creasing with them by the end of the day, depending on how you prep it or how oily your lids are. But typically, for me, even without primer, I don't usually get creasing with these unless I build it up to a thicker layer. So they stay put really well. I think the formula is very nice. The eyeliners, for me, I love the Kajals, you know, because they're smooth and creamy. They're great for smudging out, but they are not one that I can use in the waterline personally because they will smudge for me. I know some people have told me they are successful with it, but for me, they do smudge if I put them in the waterline. As I mentioned, the Baby Blade is a favorite of mine. The Feather Fix I think is an okay brow gel, but really it's the Baby Blade. It's amazing. I absolutely love it. The blush stick in Fame is a really beautiful soft berry cream blush. It has a little bit of a stiffer formula, so I do recommend blending it out on your hand first and then going in with a brush from there. I think it gives it a little bit more of a more natural finish because it is a stiffer formula. If you go in with it directly on the cheeks, you know, depending on the warmth of your skin and the oiliness of your skin and so forth, it can be a little bit harder to blend that out directly on the skin to get a really smooth, natural finish. So I would recommend going in with a hand, but I love the shade. I think it's stunning. And as I mentioned, I do have some other shades I like to use. And as I mentioned, that one is the favorite of the ones I own. The Posh Balms, I have actually been really enjoying this season because they are a thicker, slightly tackier formula. And it's not like they feel thick, like you have a lot of layers on, more so just that it's sealing that moisture in and preventing the cold from getting in. So I think, you know, during the colder season right now, the Posh Balms are actually a great weather barrier product. So I've been enjoying them. Again, my pet peeve though is the clicking up and no click down. So I'd love to see that change, especially, you know, for these price points. We've got beautiful luxe packaging. I feel like clicking up and not being able to, you know, rescind that is just that for me is a con. But I do think they're worth getting, and I would definitely take a look at the gift sets that are available if you are interested in all three shades to save some money. And last up, we also took a look at the Vast Lash Mascara, which I have to say first impressions on this are really favorable. If you're looking for something that brings the drama and the volume, this is a really nice option so far. I really like how much drama it provides, and it goes on easily. It dries quickly, so you don't have to worry about, you know, letting your lashes fan in case they hit the top of your lid and you get those little marks, you know. So I think it's a really nice formula. So I'm excited to continue using that for a while. I will have an update in my, you know, end of the month type thing. So I hope this was helpful and fun for you. I usually like to mix my brands, but you know, sometimes it's fun to just stick with one brand and you can kind of get an idea of, you know, how the brand, how everything fits together and the picture. So doing like a holiday theme with just the Victoria Beckham products, I think was actually a lot of fun. So I hope you enjoyed it as well. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you very soon. So I hope you have a wonderful day.